says, is God willing to prevent evil, but not able? It says, then he is not omnipotent. Is God able to prevent evil, but not willing? I think that might be what more he's aiming at. There's a few things with that. So one, it's interesting how no matter if we believe in God or don't, evil's present, right? Whether we believe in his existence, we follow him, evil, suffering, struggles, all those kinds of things are still present. So I think that's something that we just have to wrap our minds around as humans. Now, just because God doesn't prevent evil doesn't mean he's not able to prevent evil. But in many ways, man, God has used, and we see this even throughout scripture, which is crazy. But God has often used evil as a means for people to see that there is good. And because there is good, that must mean there is a God. And so seeing this kind of pattern of revealing that, I think there's a little bit of substance there to deal with that too. And I think we have to be careful in that assumption. Most people, man, if you would flip the question back on them, so like, cool. I mean, all right, if God's not able, or God's able but not willing, he can't be omnipotent. Well, I mean, my question, what would you do differently than God to deal with the evil in this world? And I think the first start that they'll start going to is everybody else, right? What everybody else does, what everybody else has done, the history of evil, ridding of this, ridding of that, setting up a law here, setting up a law there. But I think what's so crazy is they don't recollect that they are a part of that as well in the eyes of God. Because if God were to get rid of evil, he would rid of us too, ourselves, right? Because God is a holy being, just, all righteous, all powerful, the impartial judge. He is the only self-sustaining being to ever exist. And so our mess ups measured up to his perfectness, we all fall short. And so if God is going to rid of all evil, he's going to rid of all mankind. He's going to rid of all that. And so I think that would often put a stump into that. And then I just think, I guess to wrap that up, is more, a lot of people try to put themselves in the place of God. And I think when you try to control it that way, you'll see how, I don't even know how to tie that up. I guess you see how loose-ended that is. I mean, it doesn't really lead you anywhere. God could have prevented this car crash from happening. God could have prevented the Twin Towers from collapsing and being attacked. God could have prevented this, that, and the third. Why didn't he step in? Why didn't he step in when, a family member passed or any of those things? I think that those are moments where we really have to take a real good look at ourselves and ask ourselves, man, like what makes us feel that we have a better plan and a better solution than the creator of the universe, who has ordered and designed a certain way for this world to work, that is benefited and better off for all of mankind to align with. Because God sees so much further than we do. God sees in totality. God is outside of time. I don't know if we necessarily always process that. God's outside of time. So like, there are so many things that happen to us. God's not even tripping. God's chilling, because he's like, man, I see way down here. I know you're here, but I see way out there. Like there's so many things and elements that work together, that are beyond our understanding, that only God can himself comprehend. That it's just better off for us to just follow through and follow suit with what he's got going on. And even though it doesn't make sense to us, it's just his plans are always superseding. His plans are always greater, always better. I mean, it's so nuanced though, because there's so many other answers just off of that. You think of, the good that can come out of certain actions like that happening. Certain people coming to God, certain people believing in God after certain actions and events transpire in their lives that without it, they probably would have never encountered God. God is so much more concerned about our eternity, that there are certain things that he will allow to hit our lives that will wake us up to that reality. And he uses evil to do that. So many things, man, so many nuanced things that I think about when it comes to that question. But yeah, I think my question to somebody with that objection is just what is it about your plans and your ways that you feel is so much greater than God, that if you had it your way, it would be picture perfect and there would be no issues. And I think the first thing that you'll hear them say in that is a lot that has to do with themselves. And it benefits me, it's all about me. And so I think that's kind of where it all falls apart. And we see the sinful nature in that, even though they may be blinded to that themselves. So that's a rather summarized answer on that. Is he able but not willing? Then he is malevolent. Is he both able and willing? Then when comes evil? Where does evil come from? How do we deal with that? Is he neither able nor willing? Then why call him God? And so maybe there's a struggle of a dynamic there, trying to decipher, okay, he's able but unwilling. I think here's a good example that might help with that objection to somebody. Your parents are able to give you, as a kid, they're able to give you candy all day, every day. I mean, it's not that difficult, in general sense of the term, right? Your parents are able to give you a lot of things that aren't good for you. They're just unwilling to, because they know what it'll do to you. So God is able to withhold evil, but if God withheld evil, if God withheld trouble, if God withheld struggle, if God withheld suffering, then we all know how this book ends, because you don't feel you need God. You don't feel that he should have a huge priority or place in your life.
What's going on, party people? Listen, if you enjoyed this content, enjoyed these conversations, be sure to check the description below. All right, you can catch the link to the Truth Project. This is where these kinds of conversations are going down weekly, every Thursday night. And so I'm looking forward to seeing you there. As always, until next time, be easy and be breezy. Peace.